Why are you doing this? After Alice had calmed down in her room, she asked Elizabeth.
Why did we help you?
The memories brought confusion to me, and I lost my control. I can think about all these only after feeling better now.
Do you regret trusting us?
No, no. I trust you. I am so grateful. For the first time I met someone who were willing to help Abel and me. No one was willing to disobey Farsang or to stop him from doing what he is doing right now.
You don't have to be grateful for things that should be done as a matter of course.
But I will be thankful for things that isn't easy to come by. Elizabeth was stunned for a moment and then laughed.
You're a lot like Sophie in the past.
Oh, right. I don't even know your names. I just let you two strangers in.
This proves that you have good intuition. We really want Farsang to get what he deserves. My name is Elizabeth, and my friend is Sophie. We met a friend here, Michelle Livre.
So many people.
Even if you have been seeing people who want to hurt you only, there must be many people who want to help you and Abel.
Thank you.
It's fine. You're pretty much the same as Sophie in the past. I mean, Sophie's situation was similar to yours, and you both reacted in a similar way.
Go on. I need something to distract me. I haven't talked to anyone like this for a long time.
Sure, I'm not very good at telling stories, so please be patient and forgiving. Oh my dear Sophie. She seems to be an unapproachable one, doesn't she? She used to be even more aloof. Everyone didn't want to play with her because of her family background and her personality. They did a lot of things to her, and they went too far. They spread rumors. They threw Sophie's belongings away. They accused Sophie to her face. Sophie became more isolated from the group, and less able to get along with people. It was such a vicious circle. That was the predicament I saw at the time. Sophie must have known what was going on around her, but unlike you, she chose to remain silent in the face of malice.
Why? Why should she be treated like this? Why did she remain silent?
I don't know why in the beginning, or who started this. The reason I heard was that she was a child of the witches. She has nothing to do with the witch hunt. Her grandmother and her mother can use magic. They can talk with ghosts, or do exorcism, things like that. Her family have been going to others' houses to do blessings or exorcism. Sophie used to go with them in her free time. As a result, kids at school saw her as a witch. The help her family offered to others didn't make Sophie being respected at the most basic level. What's more, for some reasons which I don't know, they thought Sophie's family background was horrible, despite the fact that some of them actually had been one of the clients of that family. The idea spread like germs. I can't tell if it was conformity, innocence or prejudice. Anyway, everyone was isolating Sophie. They even said that Sophie would curse other kids and would kill them.
Sophie's story made Alice unconsciously clasp her hands more tightly.
Even if she told me her reason, I still don't get why she didn't resist. She was born in a family which believed in the existence of ghosts and monsters, you know. She believes in the existence of ghosts and monsters as much as her family. Also, she respects ghosts and gods, including fate, to the same extent. Her family told her to believe that fate was balanced and unchangeable, and that each person had his or her own predetermined life story. Therefore, it was her fate to be isolated and to be trampled, as the price of obtaining of mysterious knowledge that she has. Can you understand that?
Somehow.
So, do you support the theory? I guess no. Or you would not have chosen revenge.
You're right.
Well, I can't understand it, and I can't agree with it. There might be destiny and balance in the world. However, we are not ordained to follow a certain path, or to suffer from ordeals. None of us can be cheerful, or miserable forever. We will have our blue time, but at the same time, we have the right to live happily. At that time, I believed that Sophie never deserved to be scorned and that she could live happily as a normal child.
You are a person of integrity, which the world lacks.
Thank you, but I just do the right things. It's strange. After blaming other kids for Sophie, I told her that she didn't need to tolerate them anymore. Still, those kids blamed Sophie again in the next day, but this time, Sophie countered. Ha ha ha, she scared off those kids. It was so entertaining to watch them from behind. And then she told me that I was a virtuous one, and that as I would not be with her all the time, she wanted to try to be a virtuous girl as well.
You really are. It would have been nice to have someone like you with me at that time.
Now we are here. Life is consisted of not only sorrow, but also joy. Once you are willing to take action, regardless of its efficiency, everything will change eventually. It will pass.
Alice bit her lower lip. Elizabeth walked over and wrapped Alice's hand with hers. Someone knocked the front door.
Are you sure you're fine?
Sophie opened the front door once she heard someone knocking. It was Mitchell leaning against the doorframe while massaging his temples. He seemed exhausted.
I'm fine. I just accidentally got myself into trouble only.
I feel something strange on you. Are you cursed?
Is that the power of a witch? Ha ha.
Come in. Elizabeth is now with Alice. Alice is not feeling well and Elizabeth knows how to take care of people better than I do. Do you want to see her upstairs?
Yes, I do, but I don't need to be treated. I should go upstairs and say hello to Miss Inessa.
Mitchell and Sophie went upstairs to find Elizabeth and Alice. Alice seemed to be a little bit better, and she opened the door of Abel's room. This is where I keep Abel's belongings.
Thank you, Miss Inessa.
The trio could tell that Alice must have been keeping the room neat. The room was too unadorned, as a room of a young man. There was only a bed, a table and 2 closets only. No computers, nor any decoration.
Can we?
Alice covered the lower half of her face by her hand as she stood outside Abel's room. Help yourselves and don't break anything.
I'll stay here.
Sophie nodded to Elizabeth and entered the room with Mitchell to check on the stuff inside. There wasn't much to investigate. They checked mainly the stuff in the 2 closets. Sophie took a pile of notebooks out of one of the closets, and gave Mitchell half of it before reading through it. Being arranged chronologically, lyrics and sheet music filled the pages of the notebook Sophie chose. There were a few drawings in the notebook as well. Those were all portraits of a dark-haired boy, Abel. Just by holding him, Sophie could feel the emotions these drawings carried: peace, joy, love. Sophie took one of the portraits. In the drawing, Abel was sitting under a tree and leaning against it, with his eyes closed as he rested. The breeze waved his front hair, revealing his peaceful side face. It was a tranquil drawing, formed by simple strokes that depicted the youth and innocence of a teenager. As Sophie looked at the painting, she saw a vision. A vision of a red-haired young man smiling gently.
Is this Ferone's painting? It's so nice.
Alice was taken aback for a moment. Well, he is a talented artist. He writes songs, and he draws. The notebook you have is full of his songs and drawings.
Your brother used this notebook only to record Ferone's works?
Yeah, Abe loved his songs and paintings. And Ferone had been very happy to share his work with us. They used to talk a lot. The trio could clearly sense the strange emotion in Alice's words. Sophie pretended to be calm and looked at the first page of the notebook. There was an unnamed song written on it. I stood in the celestial sea. Taking my hand, the highness took me to the apple tree. The scent of grass and the breeze. Playing the strings, you sit under the tree. The moment I saw you, my heart pounded for the first time. Blood flowed as I became alive. I started to truly live for you. Oh my beloved, if you can ever hear my voice, will you sing for me? Abel sticked a piece of memo paper next to the song. Ferone's first song, He's Really Gifted. I read this song every day. Every time when I read the lyrics, I can't help but smile, but I can't sing it out loud. He's going to be a famous songwriter in the future, isn't he? It's kind of selfish of me to think in this way, but I hope he'll always keep singing for me only. Sophie looked at Alice, who seemed to successfully guess what Sophie saw. She silently avoided Sophie's gaze. As I said, it won't help a lot.
Exchange?
Mitchell and Sophie exchanged their notebooks. Sophie noticed that Mitchell had been frowning for the whole time.
You're okay, for sure.
Ugh. I'm fine. I can still think normally.
Well then.
Sophie was then holding Abel's diary, probably written when he was studying secondary school, as it was basically about school trivia. Although Sophie just skimmed through it, she could still easily catch Ferone's name for several times. Sophie sighed quietly. Sophie put down the diary, which was filled with Ferone's name, and took another one, which was also a diary. It mentioned that Abel was going to enter the same university that Ferone had been studying at. Abel was so happy about this for a while. The last part of the diary was about Albert Fairsang. Albert paid Abel, who was studying art and music at university then, to take care of his art collection in the Fairsang mansion. Abel didn't want to take a gap year. However, considering the fact that he had skipped 2 grades, it wasn't a bad idea to take a break from school and then return 2 years later. Thinking that the job would ease his sister's burden, Abel finally accepted Albert's offer. Mitchell finished reading the notebook Sophie gave him and put it back into the closet. He noticed that there were more drawings in it. From the style and technique, it is clear that the painter who created these drawings wasn't Ferone, but Abel. Those were landscape drawings, and portraits of Ferone and Alice. There was an envelope deep inside the closet. Once Mitchell took it out, he immediately heard Alice's gasp. He looked at Alice, who had turned her head completely to one side to avoid looking into Abel's room. Mitchell opened the envelope with his back facing Alice. It contained 2 bank cards and a piece of paper. Mitchell took out the piece of paper and read. That was the death certificate of Abel Inisser, and the cause of death was sudden cardiac death.
My apologies, Miss Inisser. I'll just put these back.
Elizabeth and Sophie noticed that Alice gave a slight nod after hearing Michael's words. They said nothing. They had plenty of time to talk after leaving Alice's house anyway. There was nothing more the trio wanted to investigate. Although they had no new information regarding the ceremony, they started to know more about what happened before. Hopefully, these could help them gain Ferone's trust tomorrow.
I think that's all what we want. Thank you very much, Miss Inisser.
You're welcome. Alice responded coldly. The girls could see that standing in front of Abel's room only had already exhausted her a lot. Even so, the room was tidy.
We'll talk to Ferone tomorrow. We'll be in touch anytime. Is that okay?
Yes. If there is anything that I can help, please.
Sure. We'll definitely tell you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for trusting us.
That's it.
What? This?
Which means, the Inisser family has stronger psychic power than normal people. Abel was obviously way more powerful than his sister, who hardly inherited the ability. Abel had been hiding his power. Ferone and the Inisser siblings were childhood friends, while Abel and Ferone had been very close. Due to a certain event, Ferone made Fairsang aware of Abel's psychic power.
Fairsang therefore wanted to Abel to perform the ceremony. It is possible that Fairsang had known that it would be better to have a powerful prophet before this happened. Therefore, Fairsang lured Abel into staying at the Fairsang mansion by money, which the siblings needed most. He then forced Abel to perform the ceremony.
Fairsang then began to make money from the ceremony, and Abel was weakened by the ceremony until one day in last summer, Abel escaped from the Fairsang mansion. There might be something to do with Ferone. Abel returned home to ask his sister for help, but then Fairsang caught him. Abel was naked, severely wounded. We can guess that he was traumatized both mentally and physically. He told Alice that he would die if he continued like that. Ferone then left the local university before the semester started. A month ago, Abel died of sudden cardiac arrest. Alice attacked Fairsang and was falsely accused by him of having mood disorder. Fairsang kept her in her home for 2 weeks. During those 2 weeks, he forced Alice to perform ceremony using certain means that was harmful to her.
Mitchell spaced out while sitting on the floor, leaning his back against the wall and looking ill.
Are you fine? Do you need painkillers?
I think he was cursed. The painkillers won't work.
Cursed? Then, Sophie, can you break it?
I don't understand how the curse works. I can't break it.
I'm fine. Go on. I'm listening.
Now think about our previous question. No wait, tell us about your findings.
Let's first finish the discussion about the last prophet.
The death certificate you saw said that Abel died of sudden cardiac arrest.
I don't believe that a young person would die because of that.
He was only 18 years old. I don't believe it neither. We forgot to ask her earlier. No, we shouldn't ask her about this. Tomorrow we can ask Pharaoh or someone else about Abel's living habits and his personality. Although we can guess, it will be clearer if we ask.
Yeah, we'll ask tomorrow.
Now, assuming that Abel had no bad habits, then the only thing that could explain his death was the ceremony. His life was taken away by the demon, that is why he died so suddenly.
As it's unreasonable to kill the goose that lays golden eggs.
Now we can conclude that ceremony kills, and the last prophet Abel died because of it. Then if this new prophet continues the ceremony, he will die too.
And then a few more questions about the past. First, what did Pharaoh do to make Farsang know what was special about Abel? Why? Second, did Pharaoh know about the ceremony? What was his attitude to the ceremony? Third, was it really Pharaoh who let Abel escape? Why? How did he do it? What happened between Pharaoh and Farsang? That's it.
Yes, then.
Do you want to take a break? And then we'll talk tonight?
Let's finish all these now. I think I'll still in the same state at night. I guess I just met the demons.